Super pumped right now, guys. We got Ian Daube. He's entering the chat. I'm sure he'll be here soon. I have good internet connection today. Thank God I got a good internet connection today. Chat GPT went down like an hour ago, which was the worst thing in the world, dude. Like, I had all these questions and I lost it, but luckily, like, I had like some of the questions written down. So we're in this. Ian's here. There should be a request live somewhere popping up on the screen. So I don't know if I could send the request, but wait, can I send a request? Oh, I can. Yeah, Ian seems like he's the man, dude. I've talked to Ian for quite a couple months now. I've seen him compete in person, probably one time. I don't think I've ever seen him at the other trials, but yeah, he should be here soon. No, Samson, you can't join in on this chat, but Ian should be on the live in like any second. I sent him the invite, so just kind of waiting for him to join on. Like, I don't want to spoil anything yet because he's a big name. Like, people don't know about him right now, but like, I'm telling you, in like a year from now, dude, like he's been training some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the sport. Ian, if you're having problems, let me know. But I sent you the request to join. I'm pretty sure it's yeah, just send it again. So you should be good soon. But if you're watching this right now and you're like, well, when is he popping out? He's gonna be popping in soon if you're still watching this. If you're still watching this like in the future right now. Uploading this to YouTube too later, so I'm super excited to figure out how to like just make it really nicely put together. But yeah. It says Ian's unable to join. Jesus, what's going on, man? I'm gonna reset the live and then Ian, I guess reset your Instagram app. So we're third time I'm here, but my two brain cells aren't enough, dude. Well, brother, we need wait. Oh wait, he sent me a request. I think we got this. Is it gonna work? It seems like it's working because my phone froze. Yes, let's go.
All right.
What's going on? We got Ian Daube in the building. We also got Craig Jones, which we're gonna ask some questions about the Craig Jones Invitational in a little bit.
Look at that.
Dude, I told everybody about this chat and like how big it was gonna be. CJI or ADCC? What? That's the question. That's the first question of this.
Right on the spot.
He's already stressed out. This question was gonna be asked much later, but if Craig's asking it, then we have to answer this question. Hopefully, we get to see Ian in both.
Yeah. Once I get a purple belt or something.
Well, listen,
I'm no longer a blue belt.
if there were slams in IBJJF, you would be a purple belt right now.
Yes. Yeah, probably.
That's all right, man. But listen, there's slams in ADCC, and we're really built for that rule set and said. Who you guys want me to sign? We want you to sign Ian Daube. That would be the greatest sign in there. He'd come in as a blue belt, winning the first CJI tournament ever, and then we'll push him into the future to winning. Hopefully, there's some CJI opens as well in the future. But let me introduce my man, Ian Daube. I always used to pronounce it wrong. I used to pronounce it Ian Daube. I was like, yo, this guy Ian Daube is a fucking man. He's a really good wrestler. And I'm like, wait, I've been pronouncing it wrong the entire time. But Ian Daube, he's a D1 wrestler. He's a no-gi world champ at blue belt. He is a junior Judo Olympics national champ, a 10th planet blue belt, so soon to be a 10th planet purple belt.
Yeah.
He's a gi competitor who's probably competed in the gi for the first time in jiu-jitsu during his last tournament. Is that correct?
It was my second time ever. That was my third time putting on the gi at Gi Worlds.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, so this guy's complete stud. Also, this live is brought to you by Roll Life and Hollow Labs. Hollow Labs is one of the best supplement companies in jiu-jitsu for combat athletes. So if you guys have any questions, definitely send me DM. So is there anything else I missed? You know, I know you do a lot more things than just those things I just said, but what is there anything else that we should know?
If PJ Barch was listening, he would say I'm like the most undeserving blue belt ever, and that I get all this attention, and you're a blue belt and don't know the basics of jiu-jitsu. And he is pretty spot on with that. So yeah, and that is my plan, is to be kind of cheating my way through the system here. So yeah.
You might be the fastest black belt when you get your black belt. So you know we gotta keep pushing that, right?
Maybe we'll see.
All right. First question. I don't think you're ready for these first questions. There's going to be a lot of first questions you're not ready for.
Some heaters, huh?
Your cereal, do you put cream or milk?
I do like half milk, half cream. I'm a disgusting individual.
listen, you're the one who does it. I can't drink milk. I'm a lactose intolerant. But listen, this guy's starting a new trend. So maybe more people will start using cream.
Yeah.
Second
Oh, not so
question.
big. Yeah.
That's how you got so big as the
Yeah,
cream.
something like that.
Let's go. How long have you been afraid of heights for?
Oh, that developed in my adulthood. I was an absolute wild child growing up, like up until 18 or 19, had no fears of anything, and now I'm scared of everything. So
What happened though?
I grew up a little bit, a little bit. I realized I'm, not invincible.
You look like you could be immortal, but I guess in actuality you're not immortal,
Oh,
which gives us some hope.
it's gonna be a short but beautiful life I live.
And then the last question that you probably had no idea, but now you're probably figuring it out already. Do you snore? And have you had surgery to fix your snoring, but it made it worse?
I had terrible sleep apnea, and then I got that insane surgery. So I had my throat like reconfigured, tonsils. I know it was crazy surgery. My whole face redone, pretty much. Nose, cracked my sinuses. So I still kind of snore, but at least I'm not choking to death
That's good.
as I sleep. Yeah.
Do you wear the sleep apnea machine?
My sleep apnea was so bad it didn't work on me. Didn't
Damn,
even
that's fucking great.
work.
They
Yeah.
probably just make everything much louder.
Yeah.
Now, still, we're not up to the jiu-jitsu questions, but I feel like you're super passionate about one animal, maybe a lot of animals. Can you tell us about your dog?
Dogs. Yeah, I have 5 dogs. They're all rescues. I have like 1,000 square foot house, so having 5 dogs and 2 kids is pretty wild. We vacuum like twice a day, and it's just insane. But I love dogs. Dogs are the greatest thing ever.
Dude, I technically have like 4 dogs, and like I've had my real dog is when I got to like 22, 21. Then my sister's boyfriend, he brought his dog over, so now we got 2 of those dogs. And then I started dating my girlfriend about a year ago, and she has 2 dogs. So I got all these dogs in my life now, but they're
Yeah.
all like 8 years old, and it's killing me. I'm like, oh, I've never had a dog before, and they're all so old, and I'm like, I'm not ready for this emotional stress. But fucking, I do appreciate them a lot. I was never a dog guy when I was a kid,
You
so.
got to put them on that new drug that extends dogs' lives.
What
There's a
drug
new
is
drug.
this?
There's a dude. Google it after. I'm gonna get it for mine, but there's some drug that apparently makes dogs live long. I'm gonna get it on it, but get my dogs on it first.
Would you clone your dog?
No, it wouldn't be the same.
It would not be
It
the
wouldn't be the
same.
same dog.
My
No.
friend has a clone dog. Like it's somebody
Wow.
else's. Yeah, like I don't even know how they got it, but it costs like I don't think they paid for it. I think they just got it, and it costs like $30,000 to clone a dog. So they have somebody else's dog. It's like the perfect dog though. It's like super nice.
Yeah, I ain't got
But I'm like,
out
I
there
don't
grab
know.
that. No way.
Can you share some of your memories of your dogs, or just some good memory you've had with your dogs in the past?
Oh, dude. Well, my dogs are the most misbehaved dogs ever. Like they get out. One of our dogs, Bo, is a Mexican dog, Mexican street dog. She gets out. She'll do like 11 miles. We had to get a little tracker for her.
Oh
She'll
wow,
do like 11 miles out in the hills. I live in Poway. It's very country out here, and she'll come back after like 10 or 12 hours, like
wow,
covered, like somehow smells like swamp water. There's not even water around here, but she's an animal,
that's
so very fun.
sick, bro.
Yeah,
Also, we got to talk about Hollow Labs a little bit because I know you've
yeah.
been messing with some of the products. So, what are some of the products that you like? I got a bunch of them over here. I believe you got the fucking one that looks like you, the
The
Berserker
Berserker,
serum.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Dude,
And we got
my
some of the
number
EA.
one is the new electrolytes. I feel like there's finally electrolytes for jujitsu.
Let's
Like
go.
we sweat so much. Yeah, like give a shout out to them because I've been trying electrolytes out, all of it, liquid IV, and yeah, all it's the best. And it finally has taurine in it, which like I'll put myself in ketoacidosis and like rhabdo really fast. So I've been in the
Yes.
ER, just kidney shut down, and that thing is like saving me. So those electrolytes are the best, and they're salty,
Yeah.
and it reminds me of like Gator Lights, which is like the super
Yeah.
Gatorade, and it's that stuff. That watermelon when it's cold is the best. I drink it like gallons of it
I,
all day.
I mixed the hydrate because he has an EAA's called the Watermelon
Hmm.
Wave, and I mix them together. So it's like the salty sweet drink, and it's been super awesome, man. I've never taken any sodium or electrolytes before a workout. I'm thinking about my entire life.
Wow.
So at first he's like, "Yo, try this out." I've taken it. not that I feel like I have more energy,
Yeah.
but I feel better during my training session. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting as tired as I was before. Not that I have more energy,
Yeah.
but I'm just not getting tired. And that's been a huge help to my game.
Yeah. It's saving me. It's the only way I can train is with these supplements. So thank goodness.
You a big sweater?
Dude, I'll drop 10 pounds in a practice. Like I sweat peeling an orange. It's disgusting.
Dude, yeah, especially if you're so big. Dude, you're literally twice the size as me. Like, I'm 120 pounds. You're like, what, 240?
Yeah,
I got on that one.
I am 245, 247 right now.
Yeah, you're
Little
going up
fatty, swollen.
All right. So now we got some jiu-jitsu wrestling questions.
Yeah.
Now, we'll go a little bit before jiu-jitsu. What sports did you participate in when you were growing up?
Yeah. Growing up, I did a little bit of everything, but I started wrestling when I was 6. Um, just like a little ADD wild child. And my parents were like, we got to do something with him. So yeah, they threw me into wrestling and Poway, which is where I grew up and still live. Hometown hero,
Oh, let's
never
go.
leaving. Is a very wrestling centric town, and it's like the big sport here. So I just kind of happened with luck to fall into like the best wrestling community ever. So
That's awesome.
I grew up wrestling.
Are your parents into wrestling or into
No,
any combat sports like that?
no, they all have like black belts in Taekwondo. I'm the only person in my family without a black belt. Um, yeah, my sister rode, and my mom still to this day is like, "Ah, we sure you want to do wrestling and this MMA stuff?" But she is a little crazy like me, so she does like it. You know,
Let's
she's
go.
Irish, so she's a little violent. But no, like I was never pushed in sports at all.
That's healthy.
It was just like, yeah, do your thing. Yeah. I did judo as well. I did judo to cross train and kind of fell in love with it for a few years. So
Never got a
yeah.
black belt in judo.
No, we're working on that with J Flow. Shout out J Flow,
Dude, yeah.
a grappling
It's definitely one
athlete.
of my favorite jiu-jitsu judo wrestle flow animal,
Yeah,
dude.
him and Max Schneider at Legion, we do those J Flow classes. Like they do things that I can't even like see myself doing, and I'm like, no one else is doing takedowns like that. It's like it's insane.
I watched Mika Galvao like 2 days ago at Worlds,
Yeah,
and like I feel like he's like adapted a similar style to wrestling.
yeah, yeah. He's very good at wrestling. He's really good.
I'm going to a J Flow seminar in October. Like he said, he's already coming out to New York, and I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing that date. Like
Yeah,
I'm going. There's 2 days he's going. I'm like, dude, I might even go to both. Like I know both the gyms. I'm like, dude, it's 100% worth it. Like
for
it's
sure.
I don't. Besides one judoka, what Max Schneider, you said his name is, right?
Yeah,
Dude, besides him, like there's not that many. There's a guy named David Terrell who's
yeah,
actually out of Frank Rosen. Oh no, Ryan Hall's 50-50. He's probably the only other guy
yeah.
that's like a triple black belt. Like if you're a D1 wrestler, you're black belt in wrestling. So the triple black belt.
Yeah, it's really unique. It's really unique, and you can see it like in that seminar. You're gonna go. They're moving in ways that combine all of it. Like J Flow does stuff that like it's hard to describe.
It's weird because like obviously judo is not a no-gi sport. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll become no-gi judo. But to
He's
see
doing
like
it.
how smooth he transitioned to it, like
Yeah, he's gonna invent it. He's doing no gi judo. Like he's like onto something.
that's the big style right now, especially like if you can still attack. I feel like doing no-gi judo and you can still attack the
Yeah,
legs, like that would be that'd be the sport to do
yeah,
with
absolutely.
and then like only certain submissions like arm bars or chokes. Like if you could take out like leg locks, like that'd be a fucking wild style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. Yeah, but yeah, wrestling. I grew up wrestling, doing judo.
Sick.
Yeah,
And then how'd you get into jiu-jitsu? Did you get into it when you were like much older? Like judo is obviously very similar to jiu-jitsu.
yeah. Like how I got into judo or jujitsu? Did you say?
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Actually, let's go judo first. Like whatever you got into first,
Yeah.
then jiu-jitsu.
Judo was just cross training. Just cross training. Again, very lucky. There was a San Diego Judo Club here in Miramar, which is right down the road. And like one of my training partners was Sokoju, if you know that name. He's a pride fighter. He was a pride fighter. Sokoju, Terry Sokoju. And he's like an believable judoka. And Gerald LaFawn was the head coach, and Valerie LaFawn and Natalie, they're like Olympic level. I think, yeah, Valerie went to the Olympics twice. So I like just happened to fall into really good judo, which is unusual in the States. not a very
Yeah.
popular sport. But yeah, fell in love with it, and then I just stopped for high school. Wanted to have a normal high school life and wrestle, which is a big sport. But that was my judo experience. Got to compete in Japan a couple times. I
That's
just
pretty fun.
wrestled. I just double legged everybody. They have the gi pants on. I just shoot a double. Um, back when you could do that, apparently the rules have changed. And I just double leg everyone, ippon, no problem. Very
That's so
fun.
crazy. So you actually did judo in the time where you could touch the
Yeah,
legs.
yeah, which is like the only reason I had success. Today, it'd be a more difficult path for me to win anything. But yeah,
I don't see you go
but
for too many judo takedowns, but listen, you got the champion title.
I know I'm a meathead old school wrestler. Yeah, but jujitsu is a different, funny story. I've kind of walked into it backwards. Um, Jujitsu. So I graduated. Well, I wrestled. I didn't accomplish what I wanted to get done wrestling. I blew my pec out, um, and just like hopped into like corporate life. And then I'll cut to the chase of it. So I spent like 8 years not doing jujitsu, longer, like 10. But I would just wrestle with Jesse Taylor, who's an OG in the MMA scene, especially here in San Diego. So Jesse Taylor, I'd be his wrestling partner for MMA fights. He was on the Ultimate Fighter twice. He's the man. Big shout out to Jesse. But I would wrestle with him, and he would like throw chokes on me, and I like didn't we wrestling and jujitsu hadn't quite merged at all. We'd always be like, there's that jujitsu stuff, and then I'm sure jujitsu people like there's that wrestling stuff. So I only knew like a few names ever before doing jujitsu. It was like Andre Galvao had a good double,
Yes.
and then there was that Keenan guy who's like the American who could beat the Brazilians. That's like all I knew. Um, and then 8 years of killing myself in corporate America, uh, I finally was like, all right, I want to get back into shape and do something. I'd always trained. I did MMA. After I blew my pec out to stay active and rock climb, so I was always in good shape. Um, and I needed to do something. I've always had a lot of energy and focus, so I wanted to direct that somewhere. I'm like, I'm gonna get in shape. I'm gonna do that jujitsu thing. I had kids, so corporate job, kids, everything. And Josh Jackson, 10th Planet Poway, my gym, and Kevin Beerbeck were like, dude, you should do this ADCC thing. I was like, what is that? And like, you can like wrestle people and then choke them. And so I signed up, and just, it was very funny. Like, you should do like intermediate. I'm like, nah, like we're gonna jump in.
Let's go.
And I had not done like a jujitsu class yet. I would just roll with them. And yeah, second match I had John Hansen.
Oh, that's a
So
rough one.
yeah,
That's a
it
rough
was a
one. He's
very
really
fun
good.
time. Second match I get John. He pulls guard, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like trying to, I go back and watch that match now. I'm stalling the whole time. But like good coaching from Josh Jackson, who like kind of kept me in it for a little bit.
Let's go.
Um, he ends up getting me and subbing me, but come back and like when in the absolute I ended up taking second. I had like really good competitors like Dory beat me, who's like very high level
He's
black
very
belt down here.
good.
He's good. He's the man. Um, he beat me in the finals, but yeah, like I got done with that, and I was like, oh, this jujitsu thing is awesome. Like I'm all in. And so from there, I met Sloan Climber, who's like, come down to Legion, do this J Flow thing. He was competing there, and I just like jumped into the middle of like the big scene down here in San Diego, and like haven't stopped since. Like train as much as I can, all over, in love with it, love the sport.
How did you meet Salone? Salone's really good. He used to be a 10 Planet guy. I know he's at Legion now. He
Yeah,
puts on
Legion.
times.
Now he's fighting.
Yes,
Watch out for him. He's
I saw that.
now. Um, I just walked up. Like, here's the thing. So I'm super naive to like all of jujitsu. So I don't really know who anyone. Well, now I do, but I didn't know who anyone was. So I saw this Sloan guy, and I was like, "Fuck! I hope that guy's not in my bracket." So I walked up to him like, "Hey, what weight are you?" I'm seeing him warm up, and he's like real athletic. He's like, "Oh, I'm minus 99 or whatever it was," and um, I'm like, "Oh, cool. Hey, I'm Ian," and I just talked to him, and then we watch each other compete, and then at the end, we're talking, and he's like, "Dude, you pretty well. Like, where are you training?" I'm like, "At 10th Planet Poway," and it's like, come on down to Legion for the J Flow classes, which is kind of like the epicenter of a lot of jiu-jitsu down here. And so, yeah, very welcoming, just invited me in, and yeah. So I miss Sloan.
I'm definitely I'm a fan of Legion. I remember like when Keenan was coming around, training out all these different gyms and whatnot,
Yeah.
like just trying to figure out like what style he likes and just to see like what he's done with Legion so far is absolutely amazing. And who he's brought in, man. Like I remember when Sloan came over because I was following him like when he was like a pure like no-gi guy, and I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
man, that's a good catch. Sloan is really good. Like he's probably like I don't know how many guys have wins over Nicky Rod, but he hasn't won over literally probably pound for pound like one of the best grapplers walking earth right now, Nicky Rod. So you guys have a bunch of studs at that gym.
Yeah, he's a killer. He's the absolute killer.
Def, you guys have definitely like a bunch of other studs too. You have that one dude, super big. Like, dude, I know how big you are, but I'm like this guy's super fucking tall. Baylor,
Braylon.
Brailer, yes,
Yeah, that's my arch
that's
nemesis. Yeah, that's my
your
arch
enemy.
nemesis. That's my enemy. Yeah, yeah. We kill Braylor every day. He barely
Here I am
trains.
thinking you
Probably
guys are
golfing
best
right now.
friends for life, but I guess it's not true.
No, I'm gonna take him out. I'm gonna hurt him. Trying to end that guy's career, but
Listen, that's the best thing you could do. Listen, if somebody's that big, you do have to take him out.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
What was it like training with the Worm Guard master himself, Keenan Carter?
Yo, well, in the gi, it was pretty rough the other day.
I saw
Um,
that.
uh, so I love how dumb I am to all of jiu-jitsu. Like I'm becoming friends with people before I know who they are and like
Yes.
get to be starstruck. So like I like first open mat I went to, I saw this Keenan guy. I'm like, hey, I think I know that guy. I'm like, I think he owns his gym. I'm like, he's an American guy. So I just walk up. I'm like, want to get around him. Thank goodness everyone is so nice because he's like, sure, I'm like a bigger guy. I have no idea what I'm doing. Maybe I could accidentally hurt him. But we do a couple rounds and he chokes me, 20 times in a round. And so I've just been very like open to just asking questions and trying to learn from everybody because again I realize how little I know, and so I've just become like friends with Keenan before like being starstruck by him.
Yes.
So I try to kill him every time we roll, but he is so good. Now I've come to realize like he is like this wealth of knowledge and his whole history and everything he's done. So now like when he speaks, like I really listen and like kind of let him guide me, and he's become a mentor. So I love rolling with him. There's like nothing like it. It's very frustrating to try and sub that guy or get anything off on him. But it's very fun. Very fun.
Yeah, he's definitely been like an innovation for like the sport, like starting the American Jiu-Jitsu trend, and then the
So fun.
lapel guards and the gi have been like so powerful, man.
They still
He really messed up the
innovating.
IBJJF a little bit for that time. That's why they implemented some new rules for him.
Yeah, we're trying to get him back in the gi. He's retired. He's living the good. I mean, he says he's retired, but that guy trains and is still working on stuff like all the
Dude, I'm
time. You just go
thinking that he's
around.
coming back.
You would think he is. He says he's not, which is it'd be smart if he was. He just keeps it hidden.
Dude,
But he's
put him
always
on the
trying.
CJI, my man. So that would be like the best comeback ever. Like, whoa, like that'd be crazy.
He's so cool.
Yeah, dude. I think if you had him and who else could go into CJI? If you had him and Yuri going to CJI, I think that would probably like really, really
He's
shake.
perfect. Huge.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure they have to pay these guys. They're paying these guys like a lot of money now.
Yeah. That is been the hot topic, huh?
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about it, my man? Like, what do you feel?
Dude. Well, coming in with fresh eyes again, like I come from like this vicious corporate America now, just 10, 11 months in jujitsu. I'm like, oh, it's like good disruption. Like there's a status quo. You have this crazy Australian, he comes in and is like, hey, I have a crazy idea. He gets funding, he gets money. And now it's shaking things up. At first, I was like, oh, it's going to be good long term, but this year it might ruin ADCC, right? Might not ruin it, but like, oh, it might diminish it. But I've kind of gone back on that. I think it will actually be good for both. So, who was that guy that subbed Big Dan last night? Ryan
All right,
Aitken?
Aiken, dude, that guy's good, man.
All right, so he didn't have an invite before. Now he might get an invite because so many people are moving. So I think you're going to see people that didn't get an invite now get invite and like shine. And I think you're going to see more stars come through the
It would
sport.
be
So I think it's
crazy
good,
to
like for
see.
both.
It would be crazy to
Yeah,
see if one of those guys win ADCC.
yeah. Now you get to have the crossover. I think again, like stepping back, I'm not emotionally invested. Like I think Mo has really good intentions. He's trying to grow the sport, just has a different take.
Yes.
You have Chris Australian, Craig Jones, who is like pay. It's like that's also a good point. I think both having both is actually good for the sport.
Yeah.
Like undoubtedly,
I think
more
it's
the better.
so much noise.
Yeah,
Like, I think the only way I could see it ever being a negative is that if the CJ, I mean, maybe even if it doesn't happen again, if the CJI doesn't happen, like whatever their plans are, let's say it doesn't happen next year or the year after that, or ever again, that hurts
yeah,
ADCC because ADCC is now this like fucking
yeah.
boat that was taking grappling up. Like as much as people are like, well, grappling was growing no matter what, like ADCC was that big thing. It was putting every big athlete together, and they were all talking about it and making this noise. Now, like you have a watered down version of ADCC that's happening soon because a lot of the big names are now in the CJI. Like obviously you don't have like Kanan Duarte unless he switches over. I'm not saying that you know anything about that, but if you have like a name like that go over to CJI, then it's like all right, like none of the new wave guys are gonna go over.
Mhm.
Like that's the thing that hurts the most. If you had Badoni go over or Big Dan, like Gordon's never gonna go over. You could pay him $2 million, like he's still gonna be making a lot more money outside of that. So, but if it doesn't happen again, that would be a terrible thing. Like I was talking to Tom LeBlanc. Yeah, you know who Tom LeBlanc is. I think you
Yeah.
post, and he's like, dude, like I think it's great to get all these athletes paid, but same thing if it doesn't happen again, it's like it hurts ADCC. Listen, we know whoever runs ADCC has a lot of fucking money and they could definitely like pump out the sport. But the fact that there seems like they're holding back out a little bit, like I've trained for a while. I know who has money in the sport, and I know they have money across the seas. I know when they're buying these guys like fucking super fucking cars for millions of dollars as birthday gifts. I'm like, you can use a couple of those dollars to grow in the sport and just have like a real big control of it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. I think it's going to be good long term. I'm always like a glass half full. Um, I bet I bet Craig proves that it is doable and does it again. That'd be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for. And I also think ADCC will grow from. I think we'll see crossover. I think we'll see like super fights
It would be
happen
good to
more.
see him every other year. CJI one year and ADCC the other year, and then at least you have something to like look forward to every year.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. I think this is going to be good. I think it'll be good for both. I think ADCC will have new stars. You're going to see some. We're going to hear someone's going to win ADCC or have some crazy performance that we haven't heard about before because they got to invite because someone dropped out. Like that'll happen. It'll be great.
I want
Now
to
the
see,
sport gets all this attention too.
yeah, I want to see. I think a big female match that would be good if she ends up winning is Helena Krabar, and if she
Oh yeah,
wins up against Fionn Davies, because now you could
yeah,
have ADCC versus CJI champs. Assuming that Fionn wins her super fight match.
yeah,
If she does, depends on who, dude. I mean, Fionn's lost in the last 2 years against Clay, who's not going to be in it because she's having a baby right now, and then I think somebody else beat her. But that'd be a good crossover super fight.
definitely.
Now, you're predominantly a top player just because of like the wrestling background. Like, how much do you focus on the bottom game as a wrestler and your submissions as well? I saw you throw up an armbar on Keenan the other day, and I'm like, all right, my man's been working the submission game. I saw some leg lock attempts. I don't have an opinion on it, but it was kind of funny. So, yeah, just wonder how much you focus on your bottom game and submission games as a wrestler.
All right. Well, as a 10th planet guy, rubber guard might not ever happen for me. I don't know if I have the flexibility or the dexterity. Um, yeah, but I don't know if you saw the video that Keith put out where he's like, you got to just be good on your feet, be good on top. It makes sense logically to me. I want to learn it all. You know, I'm going to try and learn it all. The leg lock game, I have short little legs. I can't tell if that's good or bad yet for leg
I
locks.
think it's good.
It wasn't good when Big Dan put on an inside heel hook on me, and I
Oh,
just looked at him and was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "I'm going to kill you.
is it already
I'm
set
going
to
to break your
you?
knee." No, he was very nice. He's like, "I got this." And I'm looking. I go, "Oh, you do?" All right, let me tap real quick. Yeah, really glad he didn't end my career there. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna work on all of it. I like have this dream of one day being a good bottom player, pulling guard and getting somebody. It's probably maybe it will remain a dream and not ever become reality. But right
Are you doing
now,
it often?
If I need a win, it's going to be takedowns and try not to get choked.
Are you doing it often? Are you working a lot on the bottom game? Or are you mainly just like, you know what, I got so much time, let me just fucking go ham on top right now and just fucking
Now,
waste.
well, now that I didn't make it into ADCC, now I am trying to learn it all. Before I was like, all right, we're just going to focus on like how to win with what I got, which ain't much. But now I'm like going back and I'm going to try and really spend a lot of time on the bottom.
You had a really good match against Brandon Reed, who like
Oh,
he had you like on top position, but then you ended up coming out like he had your back. You had hip
I
height,
was
came up on top and just
hitting him.
fucking
You didn't see me hit
drenched,
him?
drenched his
Yeah,
fucking
punching him in the mouth.
nose.
Yeah, he got me with that duck. Now I'm become like the poster for his duck series. Walked right into it. It's like I when I coach wrestling, I'm like, don't chase someone with your arms extended, and it's like exactly what I did. And he just whoop, beautiful duck. Literally fell down on my face. Yeah, I came back. I hate losing. Like when I'm looking at that clock and I'm like, down by points. Like I'm gonna come back hard as much as I can. And so yeah, sometimes I get a little silly in matches. I don't make the smartest decisions. I could have probably used better technique instead of just trying cross face his nose off. But yeah, it was
I
a great
appreciate
match.
I appreciated it though. I was like, you know what, he's trying his best right now,
I was
and
trying to win.
he's pretty fucking close to getting this in. If he just locks his hands over his face, he'll break his face and win the match. I love Brandon Reed. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Not talking bad about him, but I was like, man, I really want
No,
match.
he got me. He gritted his teeth, and I was not going to get that, man. So I was trying my hardest. Yeah, he's good.
That
He's
match
really.
was before I knew you. I'm actually in the background of that video. I was watching on the other one. It
Uh,
was Dorian Oliveras versus
I can't-
Johnny Grippo. I'm pretty sure that was right next to you. Or Ethan Carlson versus Dorian Oliveras, which that kid's a fucking stud, man. I think, listen, if he wins ADCC, he's still young enough to go to
Yep.
college. I don't know how possible it is and win a fucking NCAA title.
Yeah, that kid is a phenom. I don't understand how he's so good. He is so good.
It really, dude. He should have got top. What he had top. He should have had top 4 of Super 32s.
I see. I didn't even know that guy wrestled.
Dude.
It's crazy
Did you
that
just find out right now?
I am right now. Yeah. So
Dude,
he
he's in
wrestles
high
too.
school. I think he's still in high school. I'm pretty sure he's homeschooled. Dude, he's 17 years old and he went to Super 32. I'm sure he could get into whatever college he wants for wrestling just because of his like background and whatnot. Unless they have like some stud who's like an NCAA title holder or like All American in his division. But like, if this kid keeps going, he won Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. He won trials, so he's gonna
Insane.
be a stud at MMA. If you
Yeah.
put him in college for like 4 years, he most likely could win a title.
Yeah.
It's hard these days to do. It's real hard, but he'd be the first one to do it. Besides like like Kurt Angle and who's the other dude that won? Maybe not Kurt Angle. I always mix up these names.
You know,
The
like
dude who
you're
broke
about
his
to,
fucking neck in the
that is
Olympics or before the Olympics.
yeah, it's Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, and then his friend who's really good. The dude almost died recently, I think. He won
Ooh.
the UFC champ. He almost died in a fire, saving his parents.
Oh yeah, Mark Coleman.
Mark Coleman, yeah, dude. We forget those guys. NCAA titles. I think
Yeah.
ADCC championships are like
Yeah.
placers and
Yeah.
Olympics. Like that's how long ago it took the last person to do. The sport started growing, so there was a separation. But now, because of the wrestling, the sport's coming back in
Yeah.
together.
Thank goodness. It's such good timing to be a wrestler right now in this sport. This wrestling is back.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I came from a wrestling background a little bit. Was a fucking terrible wrestler. Literally had like a record of 4-16. But once I started doing jiu-jitsu, I was like, I could actually be good at this. I'm already on my back already. I'm already pinned, but I can win off from this position. So let's fucking go.
That's
They're
awesome.
just
Yeah.
actually helped my wrestling out so much. I'm lucky. Like my main training partner, he trained at Bergen Catholic.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Yep.
Or there in DePaul. So his main training partner was Siriano. So he like we spent so much time like together. I'm Siriano's out there now. Yeah, you probably see his face a couple times in Cal Poly.
Oh no, that's right. He's at Cal Poly. No, I haven't been back up there since he's moved up there.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's like the most mysterious man in wrestling
So
or
good. That mystery's so
combat.
good. Yeah, it's good.
Handsome
Keep that going.
Tuesdays, all that good stuff.
Yeah, he's funny. I like that. Like
He
his
was
style.
going to Rutgers for acting, I'm pretty sure. So like a lot of that, like that's why. Like I think that's why he pulled out that persona. We'll probably
Sells.
see him in the Olympics. I'm not going to say anything else about that, so I'm just going to end there right there. We got some
Oh, inside scoop, huh?
inside scoop. I got some inside scoop about some CJI stuff. I'll tell you about later. We got to trade some information, but we got to
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
our mouths a little shut.
yeah.
Like I got a big name. I got a real big name. I can't say. And people are gonna be like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Yeah." No one was expecting that one at all.
I know nothing. I know nothing of nothing. That's
Exactly, my
how I
man.
need anyone. Nope, I don't know anything. I just wrestle.
Yo, so like you're super fucking jacked. Like, what's your workout style like, dude? So I'm assuming you don't do CrossFit, maybe like a bodybuilding or a powerlifting style, or maybe strength
Yeah.
training. Like,
Old school.
what's your mix in that?
It's old school. It's just like the meathead stuff, deadlifts, squats, bench, just a lot of it, a lot of weight, and then just picking people up in practice.
Yeah,
Like when I do some wrestling practices for jujitsu guys, and I'm like, just pick them up. Like when we shoot a shot, I'm like, running your feet is so hard. I'm like, just pick them up. Just bend your knees, pick this person up. And so I've like really been trying to drill that into people. Just pick him up, and I pick people up like all day.
you feel like
And so
that's what gets you like a lot stronger too, and that'll translate to the weight room very well.
yeah, picking up a human being, they're unbalanced, they're moving around. Yeah, it's the
I
best.
remember like wrestling like last year, like so I ended up tearing my ACL like 2 years ago. So
Ooh,
I'm like, you know what, like I sucked at wrestling. That's why I tore my ACL. Like, let me actually get good at the sport so I can understand what's going on.
yeah,
And I remember, dude, after practice, like I would lift in the morning, but after practice, I would fucking feel so jacked up. I'd be fucking jacked out of my mind, like just like a good pump. And I'm like, man, this is probably like translates so well to like weightlifting, like even though it's much different, it's much more like movement based.
yeah, yeah. Picking up a human being is like the way to get strong.
What
Plugging in my phone here.
no worries.
So we need
What weight like what rep ranges are you doing? Because like obviously in jiu-jitsu, judo, all that wrestling is very like high endurance. Are you doing more like 5x5s or 3x10s or 4x10s or like 4x20? Like what's your rep range on that?
yeah, this is like for every exercise, it's like you do the bar, you do your warm up 15, add on a little bit of weight, do 15, and then you get into like, where you're getting some resistance, and I do 10, and then I have my working sets, which is like, I try to do 3 to 4 working sets of each lift, and that is minimum of 6. If I'm doing like 8, I need to go up in weight, but I try and hit like at least 6, 4 sets in a row. If I'm failing at like 6, I can only do 5. That's good. But from everything I've read, like that 6 is like maximum efficiency to like building muscle and muscle fiber recruitment. And then I go back down. I'll like drop the weight and I'll do another 10, drop the weight and finish with the bar. So it's a pyramid or trapezoid, whatever, you know,
You know what you're saying? Up and down.
shape that is. But yeah, that's like an old school Russian way of doing it. They probably got it figured out and the results are good. So for every exercise, I follow that trend.
We have like a CrossFit gym like next door to our jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
gym. So I always like to ask people different ideas. Like I'll talk to Alan, the owner of Hollow Labs. He's like a
Yeah.
pretty jacked up dude. He's like, yo, I do like 3x like 10 or 15. But he's all about the eccentrics. He's like, yo, I just go fucking lightweight, but super fucking slow. The dude at the CrossFit, like the CrossFit place, is like, dude, you already do so much endurance training.
Yeah.
There's no point of you doing anything above like 10, 15 reps. Just go super, super heavy and just like 3 sets
Yeah.
of 5 and stuff like that. So I always like to see different people's ideas. Like you guys are all pretty jacked up, but different builds and different goals. So definitely interesting to see like what would be
Lift
the most beneficial.
lift heavy things.
Lift
That's
everything.
like lift some heavy stuff.
Let's go
Yeah.
up there. Let's see. Who is your favorite UFC or MMA fighter? Could be MMA. Is it Sam
Ooh.
Alvey?
Sam Alvey.
Ivory.
Dude, Sam Alvey's the man.
Miley.
I remember, let me think. Favorite one. I'm gonna pick someone I've trained with. Dan Hendo.
Dan Hendo. Yeah, you used to go to school, right?
I've trained with Dan. Again, when I was like training with Jesse Taylor, he just dragged me around to all the spots he trained at. He dragged me in there, and I got to spar with Dan, and it was absolutely terrifying. Like the overhand right's coming, and and you're like, oh God, there it is. Like you just cover up, and yeah, he's the man. He's the
He has some
man.
good Greco, right? Didn't he? Wasn't he like
He
Olympic?
was a Greco
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I know my background in
Oh, Bobby
MMA.
Winther
Just
too is my favorite MMA fighter. Wait,
the red.
oh, I gotta pick friends. Bobby Winther is coming up.
I,
Oh, Anthony Orozco too. Those two guys are going to be in the UFC and probably be champions.
what's his
He's
name? Anthony.
Orozco,
Anthony
and
Orozco. I'm
then
gonna write that down.
Bobby Winther.
I've seen you post about Bobby before. Is
Bobby's
he a
the
redhead or
man.
no?
The dirty blondish. He's the
Dirty blonde.
man. He's a Navy SEAL and he doesn't tell anyone because he's got
Now everybody knows
not
because they're gonna be watching.
everybody knows, but he's like the true American
Let's
hero. So
go,
that's
man.
my favorite MMA fighter.
Sick. So you got into MMA at 31. I might have asked this before,
Yeah,
but MMA at 31. Are you still doing MMA? I know you're undefeated. You got one fight in MMA. What?
I will probably never do it again.
Really? Why is
Maybe
that?
it's so funny I say that, and then I'll just be sitting there in that little thing, like, yeah, just punch someone. But no, it's a scary sport. I have a lot of respect for anyone that steps in and does it. There's a reason, like, you know, I was a little crazy growing up, and a little wild, but I always knew like, oh, it's not like take a lot of shots to the head. Um, but no, I'm gonna probably be done with MMA. I love jujitsu, and I love not getting hit in the
Yeah.
face.
Are you still gonna spar MMA, or you're just not gonna like
No, I barely
not?
sparred. I sparred like younger and growing up, but like when I was getting ready for that fight, I didn't spar at all. Like I know what happens when I get hit in the face. It
Yeah,
hurts. And you just keep going. So no, I will just be wrestling and doing jujitsu.
dude. Me and my friend box in my garage. I'm talking about we were like going full swinging, like garage floors concrete, just getting knocked down,
So
literally knocking each other down on the ground, thinking we're fine. I remember going ahead with a headache. We did like 10 rounds of 2 minutes, so like a minute off. We were like so like hot in the room that there was sweat steaming off our bodies, and like it's a garage, maybe in the middle of summer, but I feel like it wasn't that hot at nighttime. I'm like, all right, this is the worst thing I've ever done. I still have like some brain damage from that day. And then I did jujitsu. I'm like, you know what? Like, I much rather fucking destroy my elbow
yeah,
than fucking not be able to think when I'm like in my 60s.
you.
Like, this is not good.
That's why I love jujitsu. You can do jujitsu hard live every day. Well, you'll get sore,
Yeah.
but like you can't do that for MMA. Like you shouldn't be sparring that much. They used to spar all the time, those old school guys, but like you can kill each other in
You can
jujitsu all day.
watch those old guys now and like, they're like,
Up,
their
up.
reactions to things, I'm like, ah, man, this kind of sucks. I don't want to watch this. I always like to see like fighters retire early. I'm like, dude, if you retire
Same,
early, like you're living your fucking life. Like I'm looking at
same.
Costa and I'm like, Costa's probably not gonna be the champ. And
Yeah.
like this dude is so fucking funny. He should probably just retire and just make fucking
Everyone
funny ass.
do jujitsu. You know, everyone should just do jujitsu.
It makes life so much easier.
Uh,
So we talked about this before. You quitting your job.
mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit more? We kind of
Yeah,
got it. Yeah, let's hear it.
dude.
You took a big risk, but like here you are doing your thing now, and like you're blowing up in jiu-jitsu. Like people are talking about you. We're hearing like, yo, this guy's blowing up in California. So obviously that risk was a very well taken risk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was like full corporate. Most of my friends are, you know, I have like my, it's funny now, I have my jujitsu friends and I have my non-jujitsu friends. And, you know, they all say you're going to be a PE coach, you know, just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's very funny. They're completely different personality types. I just full corporate after college, you know, just tried to follow the trends of like, oh, let's go get a job, let's do this. But I was at UBS, which is like the Unibank of Switzerland. I've been at big medical device companies, and then, you know, it's so funny. Like jujitsu, I was like the nicest people in the world. I know
Yes,
there might be, I don't know, like histories or things like that, or little tips here and there, but for the most part when you have this thing where like you can choke someone else and like there's like physical repercussions, I found people in jujitsu are like the warmest, friendliest people ever.
absolutely.
Even when they don't like each other, they're still really like good people. For the most part, I'm sure there's some I haven't met yet, but like I haven't met anyone I don't like yet in the sport. I'll give it time, but yeah, corporate America is like it's pretty cutthroat, and it's like you have like your normal job, and then you have like the political chess game of corporate politics, which is I enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, it's very fun to play, but I did that for 8 years, and I was just working like 80-hour weeks. You're sitting there, you're like, God, this is so stressful, and I don't love what I do, you know. And I have kids, you know, I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm so stressed out at the end of the day, and it's like, okay, the money's good, but like I'm like burning up my time doing this one thing that stresses me out, and it's kind of eating away into my social life with my kids. I'm like, I gotta do something else. And I had some flexibility with COVID where like things shut down. I feel like everyone reevaluated their life with COVID. It was
Yes.
crazy. Like everyone just sat down and was like, what is this all for? Um,
It was
so
a good reality check.
yeah, right. Like, what is this? And then there was like a big pause on work, especially for my industry. I was doing medical device sales. And I was like, I'm just gonna like make as much money as I can now because I don't know what happens in the future. So thank God it's illegal and we could talk about it. But I ended up getting like a couple of jobs, 3 or 4 jobs. So I was working from home, and I was just trying to like, you know, work as much as I could. And it kind of freed me up a little bit. I had a little bit of wiggle room where um, we're coming out of like that COVID time, and I got in a house, and I'm like, okay, this is good. And I had money put away from my kids. And I'm like, this is not too stressful. And I had like this opportunity to like hit pause. I could go back and get another job and, try and climb up and do this or that. Or I could like, I'd done this ADCC thing. I fell in love with it immediately. I could try and make that work. And so I've like got this skill set of wrestling, and I see jujitsu. I'm like, oh, there's a place for me to plug this skill set in and like make a living out of it. So that's what we're gonna try and do. And I just thankfully I'm in a great place with like really good people. All my friends in jiu-jitsu have been awesome. Jay Flo and Keenan and Sloan, and even Adam Bradley has coached me and helped me. And like there's in San Diego such a hot spot, and all the Atos guys, everybody, where I'm like, there's a value in wrestling right now, and there's not this ecosystem like jiu-jitsu where you can go into a jiu-jitsu gym, learn jiu-jitsu. There needs to be like a wrestling gym. So my idea, which I'm doing now, is to open up like online wrestling, very basic, and then a meathead strength and conditioning program that we talked about, and
Yes.
then get a physical location, because the details really are when I can sit there and adjust like your hand over 1 inch and talk about very minute details. Like that really is the difference between like a high level double leg and a basic double leg. And
Yes.
so yeah, I'm gonna be opening up a wrestling and strength and conditioning gym here in San Diego.
Let's go. Let's go. Hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
doing what I
somebody
love,
messaged me.
and I'll figure out the money later.
Are we gonna say the name of the place?
Yeah, it's gonna be called American Strength and Combat.
Let's go.
Um, it's gonna be like everything but jujitsu for now. It'll be just wrestling, light MMA, but it'll be very like uh, the foundational stuff. You know, your basic takedowns, nothing fancy like J Flow. If you want like high level crazy takedowns, that will work at ADCC and CJI. J Flow is your man.
J Flow
But if you
Academy.
like want J Flow Academy, and I was inspired by him and his website, like the stuff he has on there. I'm like, this is gold.
Yeah. People are missing
I
out.
learned stuff. Yeah, I learn from him every day, and then Max Schneider as well, his training partner. And then seeing the stuff online with like I didn't realize people were putting out these instructionals and selling it one at a time. I'm like, I'm just gonna like make a subscription based thing, have it, and then everyone gets like stuff for free as it comes in. If I'm showing like a high C and then I show a single and I come up, I'm like, I got like a little bit different of a, you know, finish of the high C. I'm just gonna upload all of that and keep it going. And then when I do have my physical location, just looking for a spot now, um, I'll make it, a big discount for people doing jujitsu, so I don't have to pick and choose.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, and so like that's my dream, to supplement jujitsu and to grow
Not a
with it.
dream. Not a dream. That's your goal, my man.
Yeah, no, it's like it's
Let's
happening. Well, yeah,
go.
it's happening. Yeah, so that's I'm just doing what I love now. I
That's
want to
awesome.
grow jujitsu.
Do you feel like it's easier when you're doing something you love to actually like go through with it and whatnot?
Yeah, Yeah, when you're waking up and you're like, God, I hate my life. You're like, it's terrible. When you're not like that, you're like, I like can't stop thinking about wrestling techniques and jujitsu. I go back everyone that I train with, like Donatas Gracie, Kynan, Ronaldo, Daniel, all these people. I like watch their matches and I'm like, okay. And then I go back and I'm thinking about what wrestling they could be doing with their style. Like I cannot stop thinking about it. It's like I dream of it now.
It, it's so interesting because like obviously like you're like purely like a wrestling guy, but like
Yeah.
how your influence has been on these high level guys. Like who's somebody that like you help coach a lot, or like what influence have you had on like these high level guys? Ian Dobe for president. Somebody in the comments just said that. That's correct.
I don't know if I've had a lot, but we're getting there. Like, so funny. Sonatas has the craziest ground game. Like, I don't even know half the stuff he's doing when he's on the ground. He pulls guard.
Delahiva and
Yeah,
some weird guards and stuff.
so good. And right, and like those Atos guys have good wrestling. Uh, Andre Galvao is a great blast double. Like that's what I knew him for.
Yes.
Before I knew jujitsu. But like that's someone I'm pulling from and working with. And then Kynan Duarte, like the freakiest of freaks, athletic wise. Like that guy could win an NCAA title. If you gave him a year of training
Really?
in wrestling, less, that guy could win an NCAA title, undoubtedly. Um, so when he's back from Brazil, we'll be working more with him. And then Ronaldo, again, that guy's a freak, like kind
He's
of
really good.
his double legs, he picks stuff up. And all these guys that have like a passion for wrestling, Sloan Climber. Sloan Sloan is known for like a good front headlock and stuff. And, his finishes are in wrestling now are like high level. Sloan could go win an NCAA like championship, I think. But yeah, and then Daniel Saffler, vicious. That guy's a killer. Yeah, some of those Atos guys, and then yeah, everyone that comes in the J Flow, they just see me being a meathead. But yeah, those guys right now I've been working with a lot.
You get to work with you ever work with Hinger? I always forget his name. Josh
No,
Hinger. He
no,
he has really good wrestling.
I've heard. Maybe I roll with him in an open mat, but yeah, he's really good. I watched his stuff. And then Keenan, dude, Keenan's a great wrestler. Like I know he's retired,
Yeah,
but like that guy kills in wrestling sometimes.
I never got to see him
Can't
wrestle
forget-
too much. I mean, I watched probably mainly his gi matches, but I definitely would
yeah.
love to see some of his wrestling.
He's a, dude. He's like. This is the one thing I want to point out is like when I grew up wrestling, we'd look at jujitsu and be like, like it's not very good. But like jujitsu guys have good wrestling. They found how to wrestle without ever taking like a wrestling class,
Yes.
and so yeah, like you gotta like respect the wrestling game of a jujitsu athlete as a wrestler. Like they're not that far off from what we do at like a collegiate level for
Who
wrestling.
who's like the best jujitsu guy that you've ever wrestled with? Who doesn't have a wrestling background, like a traditional wrestling background?
Dude, probably Kynan. Dude, he picked me up the other day. He's so fast and explosive. Yeah, probably
I
Kynan.
know.
Yeah.
Sick. What about as in a competition? Who's the best wrestler you went up against besides like a traditional
Um,
wrestling guy?
well, Pizzuto, the freaking blast
Oh
elbowed me
yeah,
after I picked him up. But he came, I didn't know this until after the match. He has a good wrestling background. God, what is that school? Cal Baptist? Or he has a good, like, collegiate wrestling background.
I didn't know
But he
that.
blast elbowed me. That boy's got some wrestling. He's strong and lanky.
Dude, you
And
took him
I
that nice though. You took him that nice, but you're like, wow, look, he's on the ground. Then he
so
came out of
dumb.
nowhere.
So dumb to let him
Dude,
go mid-air for
I
the
saw
double.
it. I was literally I was at my girlfriend's parents' house, and I'm like, yo, we got to put on some ADCC, and then whatever mat you were on, I'm like, oh, we got to watch this mat. And I saw you had Pizzuto. I'm like,
So I was real
I
excited for it. I know how
was like,
good he
man,
is.
I like he better fucking stay on top and win this match.
No, no. I decided to be dumb. And then he freaking blast doubles me. His double leg, like that isn't on the highlight reel. Well, it should be. I'd highlight the heck out of that if I was him, the way I highlighted it. He's got great wrestling. And then let me think about someone who doesn't have like a wrestling background at all. Huh. Dory. Dory's got great wrestling. And Sloan, but Sloan kind of grew up wrestling, so that's Sloan's got good wrestling.
I know, like Hinder. I forgot if he wrestled like traditionally, but he said that his main training partner was like 100 pounds heavier than him, but so he just put him in front headlocks
Yeah,
all the time. So he caught a really good guillotine
yeah.
from wrestling with his big guys all the time.
Adam Bradley has great wrestling. His match against Pixley, I think we saw it. Adam Bradley's a fantastic wrestler.
Oh, what do you think about that scoring?
Two,
Two,
two, two. I'm
dude.
screaming it. Two.
The ADCC rule set is so fucking confusing. So actually took a ref seminar. So I thought about
Yeah,
becoming a ref at one point. So
yeah,
like I understood why they didn't give the points, but I'm like, dude, you guys are making this shit too complicated. Before it was so much easier. Like in wrestling,
yeah,
that's fucking two right when the butt hits the mat. I get the 3 second rule, so I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3, to
yeah,
kind of two. But the rule is like 70% of their back on the floor. But what is the
yeah.
back? Is the back your ass too? Like what is your legs? Because then
Ah,
that was a good
oh,
percentage.
I'm not used to that like subjectiveness
Yes.
in jujitsu. Like wrestling, it's very clear. Like you're behind the elbows, 3 points of contact. Like that's two. For most things, like they're very clear. Rules like you break the 75 or I forget what it is for college for back exposure. Like it's very clear. Jiu-jitsu is much more subjective. Uh, I'm getting used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's even I mean and like I love ADCC. It's definitely my
for,
favorite rule set. I
for
got the
sure.
fucking dude.
Yeah, they're awesome. I
Got the
do love it.
ADCC fucking legacy book. I went to the last ADCC. Like biggest fan of it. But like what they fuck up with, it's like the out of bounds rule drives me fucking crazy. I love seeing matches go off the. Love seeing matches go off the mats. But how am I
Yeah.
gonna fucking call this off the mat and then another match the same exact thing happens and then reset? So there's no way to actually prepare yourself for the rule set.
Yeah, it's a little scary. When I was at ADCC, I just watched Cody Steele like fly off the mat in front of me. I was watching this. I was like, "What is going on?"
The
And then
20
I like
times he's done it.
and I had like Brandon Reed next, and I was like, God, I don't want to go off the mat and like trip over a bag and blow out. I'm 32. Like, I ain't coming back from a big knee injury, so I don't want to like trip over someone going out of bounds. So like, it was very. I'm like, God, I hope this guy doesn't shoot me off the mat.
Kendall Rusing, 2022 ADCC. She like triple tore her knee. She tore MCL, PCL,
Coming
and
off the mat.
ACL. I don't even know what happened, but I remember I saw her foot. Like I thought she banged her head, so I was like, oh, she got a concussion. Like she's out. Like she's gonna be out cold. But then you see it later and you see her knee twist. You're like, if that was on the mat, she probably would have been fine. Oh shit, we're gone. Hopefully he comes back. Are you guys here? Did I lose connection? Hello, hello. Somebody write something so I don't get nervous in here. I think you got a phone call or something, but we're still in this. In the meantime, we're waiting for him here. If he's not back, we might have to end and post this one. Is anybody else still there? Somebody's comments. Somebody just say hi in the comments, or anybody just if you're hearing this, just say hi. That would mean a lot to me. I hope I didn't lose internet connection. Somebody requested. Oh, he's back. Daube froze. You're good. Okay, good. I don't know if he's gonna be able to come back because it seems like he resubmitted back. Good, good, good. But it's like frozen, so I'm trying to accept it back. All right, he's out. Now we're gonna go back. I'm accepting it. I get nervous. All right, all right, we're back. Whoa,
I pressed the button.
dude, I got nervous, man. I was like, man, dude.
No. I'm like, I'm here. And I pressed the button, trying to plug us back in.
If I end this live without saving it, that's it. It's gone forever. So I gotta we gotta make sure it's good.
You see all my fishing poles there.
Oh, sick, dude. Yeah, you're a big fisherman. That's what I was gonna ask you before. If you didn't do jiu-jitsu or have a corporate job, would you be a full-time
Dude,
fisherman?
that is, if I didn't have kids and a wife and a loving family, I would just be on a boat smoking cigs and fishing all
What
day.
cigarette smoker? Is this you?
That's me, dude.
Let's go.
That's me.
Fishing for these small. Dude, look at this hair, young Ian. Jeez.
Young, ambitious, stars in his eyes, and now just bald-headed meathead.
Well, you got hair up there. What are you talking about, my man?
Yeah, I'm married. I could not care less about how I look anymore.
Let's go, dude. All right. What does the last name Couch mean to you, or Crouch?
Crouch, Nico Crouch, state finals, right?
Nico Crouch, state finals.
Yeah, he's good. That guy's real good. He's a real athlete.
Still training?
I don't know. I haven't kept in contact, but
Let's go.
yeah, he's good, man. I'm happy I ended that match quick.
Did you have him before? Like, did you have other matches against him before that?
I just watched him. He beat good people. Yeah, that was a fun time. Ryan Loder was in that division. He's coming up. I think he's been on the UFC show, but he was in that bracket. Shout out to Ryan. Yeah,
Now,
very fun. That cradle has been the downfall of me. But yeah.
what does this guy mean to you? If it's loading right here.
Oh, Kevin Bierbick
Yeah,
or Colt Doyle?
this is your main coach, right?
That's my main coach. Shout
Let's
out
go.
10th minute Poway, dude.
He's big,
Kevin is the man.
dude. I didn't realize how jacked he was, unless that's just the angle from the photo, but he's a big dude.
He's a big guy. He's my wife calls him the gorilla. He has these long arms and his wrists are so thick, and he stands there and is like, I'm like, dude, what? You're like not human. Like his hands and bones are big. But he's the man, dude. Him and Josh Jackson at 10th Planet Poway are the reason I'm doing jiu-jitsu now. If Josh and Kevin weren't like, do ADCC, Josh was like, I'll sign you up. You should go do this. And then we walk across the border to do ADCC TJ. I would not be doing jiu-jitsu. I never would have done it.
That's sketchy,
They like were
dude.
pounding me.
Dude,
All
like
right.
you guys are so close to Mexico, so you guys are probably like used to it. But like in my brain, I'm like, bro, I don't know. I don't know if I can go down there. I'm in New York, dude. Like it's so like very chilled,
Cool.
like back. I live in the mountains. Like I'm like Tijuana. Like I've heard stories about Tijuana. I'm sure you guys know much more.
It's
It's not
good. It's fun
too bad.
time. It's not too bad. We walked across, and Jake Watson was there, who's a really good announcer. That guy's fantastic. He came over, and we got taxis. We made sure they followed each other. Like you can if you don't have your wife and kids. That's how I am now. Like if I don't have my wife and kids, we'll be fine. You
Yes.
know, like maybe not with the wife and kids, but on my own, yeah, you can navigate TJ. It's all good.
Also,
Don't be silly.
Also, shout out to Damian Maver who entered the chat room. He's like, he's a stud wrestler. This is the guy I was talking about before, D1
Oh
wrestler.
yeah.
Like he's come back from so many injuries and just he won his last two super fights this weekend.
Oh
So
heck yeah.
I'm sure I'll be talking to him about this a little bit more later.
Heck yeah, dude.
Now,
Wrestling is really coming forward in the sport.
we got two more questions.
Oh,
What is your biggest motivation to just kind of work hard and be the person you are today?
biggest motivation. You know, family, but also not embarrassing myself in front of my friends. Like for working hard, like I'm gonna because I have to. I have to support my family. But for like jujitsu specifically, with the people I train with, I cannot like I'm not great right now. I'm not, we're working on it, but I feel like obligated to be good at this sport because of who I train with. I can't train with Janadas and Kynan and Keenan and these people and then not be good. Like I have to figure this sport out and end up doing well. So that's like my jujitsu motivation. Beyond that, like to keep like my gratefulness for what I got. Like I live in Poway, which is like the little city in the country or country in the city, whatever they call it, and my family and we got a little house and life is good and I want to make sure my kids continue to have that. So there's my big motivation beyond jiu-jitsu.
Kids and family.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to be motivated when you have kids. You're like, oh, if I don't feed you and provide for you, you're not gonna make it. So
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're kind of
pretty
cute. You look like me a little bit. I probably should
yeah.
be obligated to make you survive. So, we're going to keep this going.
Yeah, before kids you're like, I don't know, like a fast car, but like go knock up your chick and you'll get motivated really fast.
Happy wife,
Yeah.
happy life.
That's right.
And then do you think fear is healthy?
Absolutely. Absolutely fear is healthy. Fear of failure, fear of everything. I mean, doing jujitsu, I want my daughter to do jujitsu because it works, and that's driven by fear. Yeah, dude, fear is definitely healthy. Use fear, anger, all the bad things. I use all of it.
It's awesome, man.
Chip on my shoulder, fear of looking bad in front of people. Yeah, dude.
I'm sure like not in a negative way, but like do your kids like create fear for you? Like,
For
just
sure.
like worry and all that. Like how like that's the motivation.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like we gotta have like the safe car and everything, like their physical safety, and I need to make sure they're at the right place doing the right things because I don't want them to, get off track. Like, oh yeah, like 90% of my life is fear. Very happy. It doesn't mean I'm not,
Yes.
enjoying it all, but I'm just navigating as best I can, driven by fear.
Awesome. That was the last question. But who is your biggest supporter? And like, if anybody you want to thank for just kind of being so far on this journey, you obviously like you have. It seems like you have a lot of support when it comes to your training partner, your family,
Yeah,
but just anybody you just want to shout outs to before we end this.
dude. It's a long list, but everyone that I've been training with has been so good, and I want to be nearly where I'm at. But like Josh Jackson and Kevin Beerbrick, Sloan, I gotta say it, even though I'm gonna kill him the next time I see him. Brailer, Keenan Cornelius, warmest, most welcoming guy ever. I like try to listen to every word he says. Adam Bradley, PJ Barch, um, you know, the guys at Atos, even though there might be some sort of history, everyone at Atos has been fantastic to me and accepted me. And, Janatas, Ronaldo, Daniel, Kynan, Osa, everyone has been so good. And then my wrestling coaches, Brand Setter, John Myers, and then, my wife and kids. Thank God my wife is like okay with me being a meathead because, yeah, it's so funny hearing her explain to people like, yeah, he's like doing this jiu-jitsu wrestling thing, and they're like, what is he doing? Like he's punching people on the internet, and she's like, he's got it, it's all right. So yeah, and then my parents, man, I had like a real good life and very supportive parents growing up.
I
So
did a lot of
yeah, well,
research, man. So shout outs to Jim and Sheila for being like the best parents that you could
they're
possibly
the
ever
best.
had.
They're the best. They're so good. My mom is like, you need to go to physical therapy. Like I'll pay for the appointment. You
Oh,
keep
she is
getting
the
hurt.
best.
She's the best, dude. Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
That's and you, like everyone. I love the sport, dude. And more people I meet, more people I like in the sport. So
It's
hopefully that
funny,
trend continues. I'm gonna pick a fight with somebody and have beef. It hasn't happened yet, but like you know, people like you growing the sport, dude.
dude. It's funny because like I pay attention to so much jujitsu, man. Like I've watched it like all the time. I know what's going on. Like I have so many connections, but like the way that I was introduced to you was just like I was in the back left corner of ADCC. You had a match against this dude, who's like visually blind,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I already knew who everybody was in the situation. I didn't know who you were. Maybe I've
Yeah.
seen you online, but just kind of the way you approached the match and just kind of like how
Yeah.
respectful you were the entire time. And I remember messaging you after that. I'm like, dude, like I just appreciated that. That meant more than to watch you just fucking like fuck up all these dudes. I'm like, man, I love that match and just kind of like you respected the tap, like people just fucking crank on submission sometimes. You're like,
Yeah.
what, like I'm not gonna go out there to hurt people. I'm gonna go out there to win and just respect my opponent, shake their hand. And I remember everyone clapping for you at the end of that match. So that really meant a lot. So it speaks to you like not, you're obviously very good, very hardworking, but it shows what kind of person you are at the end of it. And I think that it's like something for like your kids to look at, like when they're growing up and like, man, like that. My dad's a great person, not only good, hardworking, but he's also a great person as well.
Yeah. Shout out to I think his name is Gabe or
Yes.
Gabriel. Yeah. Shout out to that guy for stepping out there and being
Competes all
at a
the
huge
time. He's a big
dude.
judo guy too.
I can't imagine trying to jujitsu somebody without being able to see. That guy's a stud. But yeah, I appreciate that. That's
Going
right. I forgot. I try.
to
We're
the
trying to
best
kill people all the
tournaments.
time. Trying to also have like that was try and do some good, which is yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the actual last thing. Any general advice you would give to people out there getting into combat sports or going to chase their dreams?
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. There's so many people where I'll be like at the gym and they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I do jujitsu." And they're like, "Oh, I've been thinking about doing that." And I'm like, it's so funny. I'm going to approach this differently. And I go, oh, you should, right? And I tell them, like, you should totally do it. And like, and they like immediately hesitate. And now I'm going to be like, why haven't you? Because I'm like, why haven't you done a class? I want them to like question it because I, you know, I, at the end of the day, this is a sport that like does a lot of good and it's very fun, especially right now. It's a very fun time to be a part of it. So just do a class. Go be uncomfortable. Go have someone's sweaty face on your face. Do it. It's fine. Go get weird. It's all good.
Awesome. Guys, this is the end of the live, but thank you so much for Ian Dobby. He is the man. Like I said, he has such a great background in jiu-jitsu, but not also does he have that great background in jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling, MMA. He is a great person. This has obviously been a really great time. Hopefully, I'm getting a nicer camera soon, and hopefully I'll be out in California, and maybe we could do one of these in person at the new
Uh,
American Strength and Combat Gym.
Hopefully, Rafael, dude.
Not
Thank you.
hopefully, we'll do it.
We'll do it. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, my man. We'll catch you later, bro.
Absolutely. Peace.